Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chloe. I will be presenting my topic today. We have learned in week 6 ethical issues and organizations. I will be talking about tourism. Let's get started. So today agenda, we have an introduction, the definition of tourism. Can tourism benefit the poor? The strategy for the approach and sustainability associated with it, a case study and a conclusion. So introduction in 2019, tourism was Canada's #1 service export, totaling 3% of total exports, generating around $105 billion in revenue, accounting for 1.8 million direct and indirect jobs in Canada. Really very impressive, right? Tourism is significantly growing in developing countries. I am a Vietnamese. My country, Vietnam, is a developing country too. So those of a high poverty rates for tourism is required to achieving poverty reduction in these countries. Unfortunately, we are facing the current outbreak. The tourism industry is one of the hardest hit by the pandemic. So what is proper tourism? As we learned, it is defined as tourism that generates net benefits for the poor. Benefits can be economic, can be social, environmental, and cultural. One thing that we should remember that the approach is not a specific product, service, a sector of tourism, but it is an approach to the industry. So I have a question. Can tourism benefit the poor? The answer is yes. Because the industry is very diverse and labor intensive, the industry opens more opportunities for unskilled laborers. Tourism come to the products, for example, they're not only going to visit attractions, they will buy souvenirs, dine in restaurants, which are the parts of operate selling. So it could boost the revenue as a whole. Tourism is really dependent on natural capital and culture. This point is very important to developing countries because these countries, they have the access, even though they don't have strong financial resources, they still will be able to apply the approach. Here are some strategy for the tourism. There are 3 key areas that we should consider: economic benefits, non-economic impacts, and policy process reform. For the economic benefits, business opportunities for the poor, small enterprises, particularly in the formal sectors, often provide the greatest opportunities for the poor. Employment opportunity for the poor, unskilled jobs may be limited and low paid by international standards, but they are much sought after by the poor. Enhancing collective benefits. So collective communities' income from tourism can be a new source of income. Non-economic impacts, addressing social and cultural impacts of tourism. Tourist behavior such as like Western habits is often regarded as cultural exchange. Capacity building, training, and empowerment. Because we all know that the poor are often lack of the skills and knowledge to take advantage of the opportunities in the tourism. Therefore, the strategy should be focusing more on training classes for these people. Mitigating the impact on environment for the poor. Tourism can lead to displacement of the poor from their land and other degradation of the natural resources on which the poor depend. Policy and process reform, enhancing participation because the poor often excluded themselves from the decision-making process, make it very unlikely that their priorities would be reflected in decisions. Blending private sectors to propel partnership. Local thriving tourism enterprises may require input to develop skills, marketing links, and commercial expertise. Building a supportive policy because governments see tourism as a means to generate foreign exchange rather than to address poverty. So the poverty framework should can inhibit progress in travel tourism. Travel tourism and sustainability. So how to make sustainable tourism more pro-poor. We have three key components. Number one is spending, shifting the focus of mainstream tourism initiatives to destinations where the poor live. Number two, put the poor and poverty rather than only the environment at the center of the debate. And number three, going beyond initial plans to developing strategies that often open opportunities for the poor at a larger scale. This is the case study conducted in Iran. Objective of the case study is to identify issues, challenges of the approach that implemented in three selective villages in the country. So the issue of the country is that the national wealth has not been distributed proportionately over for the past 65 years. So 1.5 million families live in absolute poverty. The action government has been implementing plans to create jobs, reduce poverty. These programs in Iran, they are called the Tourism Employment and Poverty Reduction Program. During the program, there are some significant findings that we should consider. The implemented plans, which was supposed to encourage local people participation, has not achieved this objective in practice and has not observed the very basic principle of participation theory. The reason is that the manager had no thorough understanding of the participation and gave very little value to it. And the government has a limited understanding of the concept of participation as well. The major tourism businesses were mainly managed by investors. That means that they gave the least degree of attention being paid to the poor in the program. Due to lack of support from manager and planners, half of the poor are engaged in unofficial tourism related business. We also find some challenges: power, training, and lifestyle. So for power, unequal power relations that the poor play no roles in decision making. Authorities run facilities to the powerful people. Training because they lack of knowledge and financial resources. So only the powerful, so most of the powerful people are invited to participate in the training classes. And the poor villagers, they have not been able to attend this kind of training classes. For lifestyle, the poor still they still strongly hold the belief that tourism is dangerous for the attractions, for the traditions, for the environment, cultures. Here is the conclusion. For tourism, the approach is called to reduce poverty in developing countries. The approach is attainable, achievable, however, it is needed a good strategic plan. The approach poses some issues and challenges that reflect in the scale of Ireland. Therefore, a comprehensive policies need to be developed to tackle the issues with the local community. That's it. This is the end of my presentation. I hope you enjoy it. I'm more than welcome to receive all of your questions and comments about my topic. Thank you and bye for now.